So one of the things that I typically do with the students for IELTS preparation is going through the tasks. Here online, we can't necessarily do listening and reading. So, I mean, I can give you strategies. You can practice at home. You can always ask me all of your questions. But to practice it here on Cambly, it's just not really realistic. So usually I do speaking and writing with the learners here on Cambly, and then facilitate whatever their questions are for the other two tasks.
Yeah, I know the speaking and talking with tutor here in Cambridge not enough to have a high degree in the IELTS test. So I need to strategies, as you say, to be good in listening and writing.
And writing, yeah. So the other thing, yeah, with writing is like I would give you a task, two of them, task 1 and 2, that you can do at home, and then bring it here so you can send it to me, and then we'll correct it together. But for me to sit here and watch you write, I mean that also, you know.
You say task. What that mean task? I don't understand.
Okay, yeah. So the writing tasks are like there's two main, I
Like
guess,
exercise.
like exercise. Yeah, but it's for evaluation, of course. So the task specifically is, yeah, the portion, maybe the part 1, part 2.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, so I could give you, writing tasks that you can do, and then bring them here, and we can work on them together. But I think for today, the speaking part will be kind of what is available for us, because we didn't prepare anything in advance.
Yeah.
Um,
Let me ask you.
sure.
About my English. I start to learn English for 5 or 6 months,
Okay.
and I'm confused to keep learning the basics uh, or to go to prepare for the IELTS test. So it's okay if I prepare. I have the basic like roots, cooking, stuff like that. But I'm confused to to go in the high level to preparing for the IELTS or keep have the basic.
Um, when would you like to write the test? Hypothetically.
If I am ready, I will do it tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Okay. Okay. So then, in my opinion, what would be better is that we look at strategies for the IELTS.
Yeah, this is what I want to hear.
Yeah,
Like and
because if I were to go through these lessons, I think the one that actually came up that you requested is cooking. It's going to be beneficial for you for discussion, but general English and grammar and those kinds of things are really not the strategies to apply to IELTS. It's completely different. It's not learning English anymore. It's learning strategies to pass the exam.
yeah,
And really, that's it. So, if you're okay, I'm going to close that. Um, and yeah, so let's take a look at the.
I am already start to take the courses from the speaking part one here
Okay.
on Cambly.
Okay. Do you want to do speaking part 3 then, just for something different?
Part three is not interesting if I keep from the speaking part one, part two, or part three, or
No. No, that doesn't
no
matter.
matter.
No.
Okay, let's do.
Okay. Uh, let's start with. Okay, we're going to start with the job, with work. So maybe you already know this, but I'll just quickly say this. So part one, related to your question, part one is really general. So you're going to talk about, I have my mom and my sister and my dad and my brother. They are, I like, this is very basic points.
This is about the questions.
Exactly.
This is about the questions. If they ask you about yourself, you should to answer about yourself.
Exactly.
But I think it take 4 until 5 minutes,
Right.
and that's it.
Yeah, but you won't really have to worry about the time because the evaluator will be in control of that. So they will be asking you specific questions related to whatever you answer. So, yeah, I wouldn't worry. Go ahead.
Let me ask you about the time in the part one. When I answer about the question, I should to keep talking until the examiner say to me, "That's it, just stop," or because I think he will give me, you say, specific questions like, uh, tell me the members of your family, for example. So if I finish the members of my family, so I will finish.
Yep. Yeah. So, for example, yeah, if we were to take family just kind of for fun, there might be questions like, here, let me give you specifically. Yeah, do you spend time with your family? And then you could say, yeah, on the weekend, I love to have dinner with my mom and my dad or something. Huh? Um, you could say, who's the closest member of your family? Oh, my brother. They're very general, basic kind of questions. Yeah. It's actually in task 3 that it gets into detailed questions.
Yeah, I think in the part three,
Yeah.
it have a lot of time. I think 15 minutes.
Um, I think it's less, but the time, again, don't worry about the time because it doesn't matter. You're not the one that's going to be controlling the time. It'll be the evaluator that's controlling the time.
Yeah, I think the matter is how I will describe my opinion about the question and about the topics, what the examiner will ask me about it,
Exactly.
and the vocabulary what I will use it.
Right. Yeah. 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 Exactly. And the grasp that you have on the language. So, are you using complex sentences, or are you saying I like chocolate? My mom is beautiful. Like really short sentences. That's going to be giving you like a lower score versus going into complex sentences, phrasal verbs, idioms, those kinds of things.
Like, my mother is wonderful. I love to do something.
Exactly. Yeah. Why? Oh, she's my best friend, and we always go to have coffee together, and but
Sorry to interrupt
no,
you.
go ahead.
I wanted to ask you about the grammar. I'm really worried about it because from my start to learn English, I have never see the grammar or rules of grammar.
Right.
So I should to take courses about the grammar, or keep just practicing, and
Um,
will be come with the time.
Yeah. So my style or method of teaching, I really don't sit there and teach squared grammar rules, but there are a couple things that I'm listening from you that you're saying that I would correct. So I might take the next class, 5 or 10 minutes in the beginning and say, okay, last time I noticed that you were saying these couple things. I just want to take a few minutes. Let's look over that and continue. So, yes, the grammar is going to be important because if you're saying the wrong thing over and over and over and nobody's correcting you, you're not going to learn from the mistake.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know if that answered your question, but that's what I would do personally.
So I will let in my opinion, I will download some applications to help me in just the basics and the grammar, to not do a big mistake
Right.
in my.
Yeah. Yeah, you could do that. Yeah. And again, like when you're using Cambly, I would specifically tell the tutor, like whoever you're talking to, can you please correct me after all of my mistakes, or only after the big mistakes? Because sometimes the tutor's not a grammar teacher.
So let me ask
Yeah.
you, from the beginning of this lesson, I haven't do mistakes or not about the grammar.
Yeah, so there's two things that I would probably look at with you. So, for example, when you're using modal verbs, that's like should, could, will, can, might, must. Those are modal verbs. I put them in the chat. I don't know if you can see them.
Yeah, I
Okay,
see
so using
these verbs called modal verbs.
exactly, yeah. So modal verbs, you will never, like the number one rule is that you will never use to.
In the same sentence.
Um, it depends, because to, the preposition to has many functions. But for example, I hear you're saying I should to practice grammar,
Yeah,
whatever.
this is the mistake.
So you don't want to
I
say
should
to.
I should practice grammar, not I should to.
Right. Yeah.
And and the rule is the same about all of the modal verbs. Yeah.
All of the modal verbs. The only exception, again, because English has lots of exceptions, um, when you're saying have to, I have to go to the bank tomorrow. Have to.
That means I need to go.
Exactly.
I have.
Exactly. So have to go, but that's a formed segment of a sentence. So it's not going to be I have go. That's the only
Yeah.
exception with phrasal, sorry, with modal verbs.
Thank you.
Yeah. So that's something, like as we're doing these speaking tasks, writing tasks, I would take those time, at the beginning of the class or whatever you tell me, and we would look at that. But to sit there and study grammar, no. If you're preparing for Ielts, me personally, I won't do that.
Yeah, because I think the grammar make the people confused. To say something like to talk. You keep talking and you say, "Oh, it's a mistake. I should. I'm going to say I should too.
No, I should do that. Yeah.
I should say that, and I correct it.
Right.
So it make a little problem.
Yeah, and I think sometimes too, like I'm an adult educator, so I don't teach kids, so there's a different grasp, different concepts of that. But I think sometimes what we do is not attack you every time you make a mistake, because you're not going to flow the words. Like if I'm interrupting every time, it's difficult for me to hear your whole expression than to stop all the time. So that's why I say maybe at the beginning or at the end, I might go through some things, but that's all.
About me, if someone keep attack me and say to me and say me, uh, you have a mistake here, I will forget all of the sentence, all of what I will say, and I will be like not confident about my
Exactly.
English.
And that's the purpose. So we don't like to discourage that. I would like to hear your whole idea, your whole story, whatever, and then tell you, maybe I'll pick two things and be like, okay, so we need to change this, or I would say maybe you should, blah, blah. But that's kind of
Yeah.
good. Okay, let's take a look at this. I'm going to start with work. Okay.
Okay.
So these are more detailed questions. Do you think job satisfaction is more important than salary when choosing a job?
Satisfaction.
Yeah,
Let me translate this
sure.
word. Satisfaction. Uh, you asked me about the satisfaction is more important or the salary,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So I think if the people need to make money for leave or for do something, I think the the work is very important and the salary is very important. And with the time, if someone is comfortable in his life and he have money and he want just to have a work to spend time or stuff like this, it be he will looking for the satisfaction.
Okay. But in the question, specifically, do you think that job satisfaction is more important than salary? So, for example, right now, in your current situation, would you rather love your job, or would you rather hate your job but get lots of money, basically?
Basically, I don't like my job. I keep working in this job just for the
Okay.
salary.
Okay. Okay. Um,
So I think this is the specific
yeah.
answer.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Number two. What skills do you think are needed to get a good job these days? So, like now.
Yeah, in these days, I think if you want to have a job, you need to be a bilingual, to have a French and English. I'm talking about
Yeah.
my country, and to have skills like programming is not just for to be programmer. Some programming some course in programming, like to know how you work in Excel, in Word, is very important in this day because we live in the time in our day we live with social media and stuff like this.
Yeah, a lot of technology. Yeah, exactly. Okay, number three. Do you think women should be able to do all the same jobs that men do?
Can you repeat the
Yes.
question, please?
Do you think women should be able to do all the same jobs that men do?
No, no. I think the woman's not like the woman not have the ability to do all of the work who the men do it. But I think there is a lot of works it's hard about the woman, like to work a technician that need to do a lot of force in the day, in your day. So I think it's very hard about a woman to
Okay.
do it.
Number four. How has technology changed the way that we work, especially this past year?
Yeah, that in this question they ask about how technology changed the environment
Right.
of our
Yeah.
work. I think specifically in the reunion. I don't know it's correct the
Gathering.
word or not. Reunion, when you need to talk with all of your coworkers.
Yeah, maybe a
Uh,
meeting. Yeah.
yeah, specifically in meeting because in this day we have our friend coronavirus, so we need to to have a meeting just online
Yeah. Yeah.
and not to get together and talk in the old
Exactly.
days.
And so, do you think that in the future, maybe those meetings will actually change? Like, you might have meetings with the company who's in another country, and you don't need to travel because many people are traveling for business meetings, traveling for business work, and now everything's online.
Yeah, yeah, the technology make it
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah.
Make
Okay, good. What jobs do you think are most valuable to society?
available to available
Sorry, valuable. I'll put it there in the chat.
valuable that mean make values of the society of the
Correct. Yeah.
society. So
Sure.
repeat the
Yeah.
question, please.
What jobs do you think are most valuable to society?
I think when we're talking about the values on the society, we're talking about the finance. If the society have a good financial and in the society
Society.
in the society, that will be good for
Okay.
them.
Yes. Yes, we are talking about that, but also even the value for the people, like education system, like medical care, those kinds of systems.
Yeah, yeah. These little things make the difference because if you have a company and you take care of your personal or your the personal, this is the good words to use it. If you have a company and you have someone work in your company, what is the word to say it
Yeah.
for him?
So you can say staff, co-workers, personnel. Uh, yeah,
Personal, yeah. I think coworkers that mean your friends in work in the same
yeah.
team, no?
Even colleagues also can be. Yeah, employees.
Yeah. So I was going to say about these little things make the difference because the personal will be so happy when he feel the company take care of him, like when they give the people the masks, when they make the test for the people. It's really interesting for the people. The little things make the difference.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Good. So that's kind of how task three would go. It's more in depth. So maybe in task number one, you talked about work, but it was what is your job? Do you like your job? Where do you work? And that's it. No? And so in task number three, we kind of go into it more in depth, more in detail, and I can listen to how you develop your ideas and your concept of the language.
Yeah, but I think I find
No, no, but there's things, yeah, that will go along with the time and we'll change them. Yeah, for sure. If you decide to have another
yeah,
class, then that would be great.
yeah.
Um,
I should improve. So I think we are in the last 2 minutes or the last minutes. It's
you
very
too.
nice to
Thank you.
meet you, and thank you for all of this information about the IELTS
Yeah,
and
yeah.
our
And if you have any other questions, definitely just send me a message anytime. I think we are many hours different, but I will reply whenever I get it. So Yes, no, thank you very much. It was nice to meet you as well.